Hi, it's Yvette, the craft shop girl. Today I want to share with you my fussy cut storage and how I do my fussy cuts. So, how I keep my storage for my fussy cuts is I use one of these photo storage boxes, and I keep my fussy cuts stored in here along with some of the stickers that I get. So this is kind of a fussy cut box with stickers. I also have some stamps. A lot of people have asked what fussy cutting is, and basically it's taking an image and just cutting it out. It can be something simple like numbers from magazines or prints. I do a lot of purchases from Etsy with printables, and then it's just cutting the image out. I do printing on copy paper. Let's see, where are my flowers? I have 2 flowers. I also will print from time to time, not only on copy paper, but I'll do images on vellum. So when I fussy cut these images out, I can glue them onto whatever I'm working on, and the paper below will still come through. Also, what I've done with my printables is I've cut my flowers with stamp scissors to get a stamp look. So that is how I store all of my fussy cuts. And let me show you how I keep my fussy cuts organized. So what I do is, if let's say I have a stack of images that I know I need to eventually get to and cut, some I keep in this basket and cut out as I need them. These are labels that I've made with rubber stamps, and I will cut these out as I need them. I also have sentiments that I cut as I need and then print more when I start to run low. I have some canceled stamps here. And then the one I'm going to be showing you today is my bees. I'm running low on bees, so I will show you how I fussy cut these bees. And what I do is I keep this basket because sometimes, let's say if you're going on a trip or you're going and you're staying a few nights somewhere and you want to take something with you. I'll take something like this with me and put it in I have like a little craft bag. I'll put it in my craft bag, and I take a little Ziploc and I will fussy cut the images. Or sometimes just if you have downtime between projects, or you are thinking of doing a project and you don't really know exactly what direction you're going in with it, what I like to do is I'll sit and watch TV and do my fussy cuts. So that's how I fill up my time, is working on fussy cuts. So my suggestion would be to get your image to be a little bit smaller. It's hard to work off of a larger page. And then what I use is I have a pair of Tim Holtz scissors. They're easy to grip, sharp, and what you want to do is you want to manipulate the paper, not the scissor, around the image. That makes it a lot easier. I mean, sometimes you really can't help that, but for the most part, if you start working on fussy cutting and getting used to manipulating the paper, it goes a lot faster, and it seems like you have more control over the cuts because you're just, if I'm getting in the frame here, you're just manipulating the paper, and it is a little kinder to your hands and your wrists. And having a good sharp scissor is also key to fussy cutting. This image has an outline, darker paper outline, which is kind of nice because you can just follow that. You don't have that white edge. But what you can do with that white edge is you can use inks around it. I like to use Vintage Photo and darken up my edges, give them a little bit of an antique look. So you're just twisting your paper around the scissors. Took me a little bit of practice to get used to doing it this way. This is not how, oh, I can't see that one. I'm going to cut that. It's not how I typically would cut things, but once you get used to it's this process, it becomes second nature with cutting. Kind of a little sharp, that edge. There you go. So there. Pretty simple. And like I said, in the beginning, when I started doing it this way, it did take me a little bit longer. But once I got the technique down, I can get through a stack of fussy cuts pretty fast. Compared to the way I used to do it, it took me forever to do it. Now, before I know it, I'll print out, you know, I could print out 10 sheets and all of a sudden I'm done. So let me do one more, and I'm going to show you a trick for bugs that seems to work nicely for me. And what I do is I cut off their antenna. The other thing I do is I'll fussy cut and items that are going to be left in my stash. Sometimes I don't get as detailed with them. I leave it so that when I'm ready to use that image, I'll go back and maybe fine tune the image a little bit more. Like for example, this one, maybe I would just cut right across, because especially with the antenna, I'm not sure if I want to use it and get detailed and cut around it, or if I'm going to draw that image in. And I'll pull out one of my butterflies and show you, because those are the ones that I usually do that trick with. So just rotate that image. And again, you can get as detailed as you want. So I'm going to cut that off. And cut off those little straggly pieces, because that sometimes hinders you. So there you go. I left those on. Let me show you my butterflies, what I've done with them. So for example, this one, can you see it? This one I've left on. And then when I decide to use this image, I'll either decide to cut around it because I like the way that looks, or there's times where I cut them off. And then when I cut them off, what I'll do is I'll use a thin point marker. Let's see if you can see that. And then I will just draw that in. There you go. So that's what I do with bugs, insects. You can do it with bees. I do like to keep it on there just because of how the graphic looks, and then I can always copy what they've done. So I usually keep them in my stash with them on, but when I'm ready to use the image, I typically will cut them off. So there's the butterflies. I'll do one more image just to show you the technique again. I'll do one of these little honeycombs here. And what I have done is, like this one has little leaves and things. I have taken, let's see, where's my fairies? I have gotten detailed with some of my images where I will cut around all of the leaves. Let's see this one. And even some of the little specks, because I just like the way that image shows up. But what you can do is you can cut around it if you'd like and not include all of this little detailing, and then go back and either pencil it in, you can splatter with paint. You know, when images have little flecks like that, you can get creative if you'd like, as much or as little. Okay, so I'm going to take this one, and I'm turning the paper. That's it. Easy peasy. And I'm just rounding those edges. These are teeny tiny little antennas that definitely will just stay as part of this image. That's too much detail for me. There you go. And then what I had mentioned is I'll take my distressed oxide. This one's Vintage Photo. And I'll just go around the edges to darken them up. You don't have to. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Depends on what I'm adhering it to. And then it also depends on whether if I've used vellum. If I'd used vellum, the image will show through behind it, so I don't need to darken anything. See that? You see that? See the difference? Something about darkening the edges really actually highlights the colors. So I like doing this. You can do it as light or as dark as you want. You can also use different colors. I've done that a few times using greens. I've done some greens. Kind of makes certain colors pop, especially if you're going with a certain color theme in your journal. But for the basic junk journals, this Vintage Photo is my go-to. There you go. And then let's see how that pops on the paper there. Okay, and I can show you two examples that I've used my fussy cuts on an altered card. I glued actually that same image, and here I didn't highlight the image. This one, this little stained glass butterfly, I kept the antenna on and I did highlight around it. This little sewn pocket there. So that's some of the ways you can use your fussy cuts. This is the process that I use to get these things cut quickly and easily. If you have any questions or comments, I'd appreciate the feedback, and I appreciate that you watched, and I hope you have a great day. Talk to you soon. Bye.